everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about removing the algae or taking care of the algae growth that you may find on the top of your seed starts. So right now it is February and the only thing that I have started are my onions. So I have got 5 trays, there's 72 cell trays started of onion seeds. I think that they are probably 1 to 2 weeks old. I can't remember. I started them January 28th, I believe. And so, yeah, they are mostly up and starting to grow nice and everything looks good, except for yesterday I noticed that they were starting to get some green algae on the surface of the starting soil. So what I'm going to do is just take care of that. So if you have that on your starts, don't be alarmed. It's perfectly natural. It happens all the time to pretty much everybody. Um, so don't panic. It's not going to hurt your starts right away, but if you let it get out of hand, and it can eventually cause issues later on. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take care of this and give you a few tips that hopefully you can avoid most of it even happening to begin with. So you can see in my trays here, you can see that there is a green hue on the top of my soil. Most of it isn't too bad. This one is a little bit thicker. But this just started, at least I just noticed it yesterday. So I'm gonna go ahead and just take care of this before it just kind of gets too icky. I just want to make sure to keep my starts nice and healthy, and it's just kind of unsightly to look at. So I'm going to show you how I do that. All right, so I'm just going to use an old toothbrush that I had, and I'm going to use this to scrape off that algae on the surface. So I brought my seed trays down, and I'm just going to do one tray at a time. And I'm just going to start to gently brush the surface of the soil to try to remove as much of the algae growth as I can. If your starts are larger than my little onions are, or if you have them in individual pots, it'll be a little bit easier for you to do this step, but it's definitely doable. Just take your time and be gentle, and everything should be okay. But I'm just gonna gently kind of brush as much of that surface as I can. This is gonna remove a lot of that algae. It's gonna disrupt the algae growth, and it's really gonna aerate the top of the soil, where you can see that once it gets wet, it gets slightly compacted. So doing this brushing motion is just gonna kind of aerate that surface, allow the air flow to get in and dry up the top of the soil, and just remove some of that yucky algae growth that we have there. So I'm just going to take my time and brush around each little start. So these are 72 cell trays, and I have 5 of them, so it's going to take me a little bit. But that's all right. So I will just keep doing this. You might notice that I can't really get 100% of it because I can only get so close to the stems of the plants. So there will be remaining algae here and there, and that's okay because we are gonna also treat the soil to help kill off anything that remains. So do the best you can here. Try not to damage those delicate little plants. So it'd be so much easier with larger starts, but these onions are just coming up. Some of them are still partly down in the soil, as you can see. So now we're going to treat the soil with some ground cinnamon. I'm just using this organic ground cinnamon that I have in the kitchen. And I'm just going to do a light dusting on the soil. You don't have to go super crazy, but you do want to make sure that you get cinnamon in each little cell. So if you have a cell tray like this, or if you have just multiple pots, then you're gonna just wanna make sure that you get it all over in each pot. Take your time and make sure you get all the way to the edge. Now, cinnamon is antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, all that good stuff. It's really, really good. Okay, you guys, so if you're seeing a green algae on the soil of your seed starts in your seed trays, you're looking at an issue with one of three areas, possibly all three areas. So let's learn what the areas are that we need to address. So those are going to be water, temperature, and air. So first, let's look at water. Are you overwatering? If you are watering too much and you're leaving the top of your soil wet all the time, that is going to leave your soil open to the possibility of algae and molds growing on the top of your soil. So make sure that you're not overwatering. You want the top layer of that soil to be dried out, and only underneath the soil would be wet. So if you stick your finger down in the soil, it should be wet down underneath, but not at the top. Also, another problem can just be in general top watering. So if you're using like a watering can or a sprinkler of some kind to sprinkle the water on top of your seeds and your seed starts, then that can cause obviously this issue because you're wetting the top of the soil. So by keeping the top of the soil dry as often as possible, that's going to eliminate the possibility of that algae or mold from forming on the top. So to avoid that, we're going to water underneath, and I will show you a little bit. You can just use your watering can and pour water, or use a jar and just pour the water under the, if you have like your seed cell tray, or if you have just little pots, have them in a solid tray without holes, and that way you can pour the water down below in that solid tray, and the soil as it dries out will naturally want to absorb more liquid, so it will draw up that water from the bottom into the soil, and that will allow the roots to access the water without wetting the top of your soil. It'll also help to strengthen your plants over time because they're going to be growing down toward that water, and really just increase the roots of your plants. So it is a win-win. Another thing that you want to make sure to do is if you are using humidity domes like this, which I had on my seedlings there when I put the seeds in and got them all going. I had these humidity trays on. I did bottom water mine, and then I put these humidity trays on, and you're going to want to just make sure once your seedlings sprout, you're going to want to remove those humidity trays to avoid just having the top of your soil too wet, and the air in there will be obviously very humid, very wet, which is excellent for getting your seeds to sprout. But once they have sprouted, you're going to want to let that top of the soil really dry out a little bit. Next, we will talk about heat. If you are having your seeds too hot, that can really produce an environment where mold and algae want to grow. So make sure that you don't have too much heat going on wherever you're starting your seeds, especially if you're using seed mats. The heat mats for seeds and stuff are really popular right now, it seems. So if you have your seeds on a heat mat, you might want to try getting rid of that mat once your seeds have sprouted. So once you see those new little starts pop up from the soil, you're already germinated, then go ahead and get rid of those heat mats. They probably don't need that anyways. And also, if you are too close to your lights, if you have really hot lights and you're having them really close. Mine are LEDs, so I can keep them pretty far away. But if you have an older light or a fluorescent light, you really want your lights very close to your plants. And if those are given off an excessive amount of heat, just keep that in mind. It might be um, just making the area really warm and then combining that with really wet. You're asking for algae to grow. So check that with your setup and make sure you don't have too much excessive heat. And thirdly is the air. So you want to have good circulation around your plants, which is, I think, the downfall of my starts, which is why I am seeing this algae grow on my soil, is because you need good air circulation around your plants. If you want, if you're seeing that you feel like you don't have enough circulation, I recommend getting like a small fan that you can, if you have a shelf like me, they make fans that you can clip right on the shelf and kind of bend and put it right where you want it, or you can just use a box fan and prop it up, just depending on your setup and how much space you have and that kind of thing. I'm just going to turn on the ceiling fan uh, sometimes throughout the day and allow it to kind of circulate the air a little bit better. My grow shelf is kind of in a high traffic area of our home right now, and the light is pretty bright, as you could tell. So in order to kind of not bother us, I had put a cotton bed sheet around, kind of pinned it up with some clothespins around so that we didn't have to be blinded by the light. But I think that that caused, even just a cotton sheet was too much, and it was preventing uh, the plants from having enough circulation, and they were then staying too wet even though I hadn't watered them. So I have removed that, and I will only put it down when I need to and make sure that every day they get good circulation and have some time with the fan on. And the benefit of a fan as well is, I'm sure that you probably already know, but it causes a little bit of movement in the stems of your plants, and that really helps to strengthen them and make them stronger so that when they go outside, they're not just toppled over by, nature, which it has wind and a nice breeze. So you would be surprised if your plants never see wind from a fan and then you take them outside and there's even the most gentle breeze. It can be pretty devastating to a little plant. So definitely has a double benefit there as well. So consider those three aspects if you are seeing algae or mold growth on the soil of your plants, and hopefully that will help you out. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. I hope that these tips helped you out. If you try anything that I mentioned, please let us know below if you tried it, if it worked for you or not. And if there's some tips that I didn't mention that you have to share, that would be great. Please let us know. It really helps to build our community when we share our info and our experiences. So please make sure to share those, and I hope that this helped you out. Please share this video, subscribe, like, and I hope that we will see you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by, and we will see you soon.